Today, we are looking at how to inspect your investment. How do you make more money with each step that you take when you're purchasing, especially real estate investments, and how to look at those different things. Today, we're going to cover a few concepts, and we're going to make sure that the next time you buy a property, you're going to make a lot more money. So one thing that most people always do is read the first book in finance that they always should, The Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I love Robert Kiyosaki. So when you read that book, you're going to learn that you want to be a business owner, but you also want to focus in on cash flow. So if you focus in on cash flow, then you're going to make money is what he says. But we actually make money a lot of different ways. So how do we make money a lot of different ways? Here we have a little board that we set up here, and we have a couple different ways that we can look at real estate. So how do you make money on real estate? We can make money with cash flow, which is your monthly rent that you're going to take in, and hopefully your monthly rent is going to be above what your mortgage is. We're also going to make money when we're going to have appreciation of the asset. So that is where we're going to be making money as the unit is going up in value. We're also going to be making money when we're having depreciation. So depreciation is where we get those massive juicy tax coupons when we can write off the property. We also can make a lot of money when it comes to our loans, and making good loans. We'll make a lot of money on those. We'll also make a lot of money on principal pay down. So principal pay down is when you make a monthly mortgage payment, some of it is interest, but some of it is going right back to your pocket and it's paying off your unit. So you're also making money with that. So remember, first great book to read, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki, you should, but we make a lot of other money in a lot of different other ways. So don't just focus in on one, we have to look at the whole picture. At the same time, we have a lot of costs. When we have a property, we have the purchase price, but it's not just the purchase price, is it? We also have to pay attention to the maintenance costs or the condo fees. We also will have legal fees. We'll also have taxes. We'll also have transfer fees, depending on where you are. They can call that a welcome tax. So that's a lot of extra money that nobody seems to be talking about. We also have carrying costs in the interim before we have a renter move in. So we have to pay attention to all the ways that we can make money and all the ways that it's going to cost us. So when we're going to look at this in totality, we have a lot of different ways that we can make money and a lot of different ways that's going to cost us. So where it gets confusing is different investors will be looking at different things. They may only look at one thing versus one thing, or one thing versus two things, or two things versus four things, and on and on. A number of possibilities is almost endless how you can calculate this. But remember, all that we are interested in is what is the total amount of profit, how much money can you make in all, and how much is the cost in all. So my suggestion is look at all the ways you make money, all the ways it costs you to get a real true number, and don't get mixed up with the way that some investors will tell you. It's funny that we can look at some investments and we could say, we'll make 2% on it, and somebody is not happy with that. But at the same time, we might turn it around, just read the numbers slightly differently, and you're going to make 70% per year. Remember, the devil's always in the details. Make sure that you're looking at all the numbers. But look at this. This is from that same book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, cash on cash return. So cash on cash, imagine that you had $1 million property that we're putting $200,000 down on. If you do that, it will make you about $40,000 a year. If we compare the $200,000 that you put down out of pocket and you made $40,000 per year, that equals 20%. So that sounds pretty good, right? But look at this exact same scenario. If we are looking at $1 million property with $200,000 down, $40,000 profit, the exact same, that only comes to 4%. The exact same layout, same purchase price, same money down, same profit could be expressed in two different percentages depending on what you're relating the profit to. So this could be considered cash on cash, meaning the total cash out of pocket versus your profit, or it could be the total purchase price versus the profit, imagining that you paid for it cash, but nobody ever does. So it could be a massive difference. Guys, when we're looking at profit margins, they could actually fluctuate wildly from 4% to 70% to 100% a year. So my biggest suggestion, always look at all the numbers. Make sure that you understand all of the numbers. I cannot express that enough, because that's where you're going to make a lot more money. Don't focus in on one of the aspects. Make sure you focus in on all 10, because if you're able to tweak all 10 of those things, we will turn a regular investment into an amazing investment. Remember, this isn't for you. This is going to be for your kids and generational wealth if we can learn all of those different things. Very, very, very important. Now, when we're going to buy a new property, we have more than just looking at the numbers, right? I always think of Cuba Gooding Jr. when he's saying, "Show me the money." He's so excited. So, show me the numbers. I want to see the numbers. So, we want to make sure that we can make a lot more money, right, with every step of the way. So, how are we going to do that? Number one is we're going to be inspecting the property. When we're going to be inspecting a property, the biggest thing, water is the enemy. I know that we love water, right? Water is the best. Water is the kiss of life on earth, but water in homes is the devil. It is the absolute worst. It is the biggest cause of problems and loss of income. What do we mean by that? Let's start from the bottom and work our way up. When we're in a property and the ground is too soggy, the footings will sink. And when the footings sink, we'll now have cracks that will be forming all the way up the brick. That's on the outside. You'll also see the footing actually changing as well. That will make some damages on the bottom part. We also could see on the inside this evidence of cracking. So the evidence of cracking can happen right on the walls. Normally in North America, it's gyprock, and you're going to see the shifting of the walls. So it'll be cracks in the walls and cracks in the ceilings. Generally, they're not going to leave them all. They'll try to fix them, and they'll put some putty on it or some smooth cement. But you, with a keen eye, will be able to see where they've smoothed it all out, sanded it, and it'll be a smooth section on a regular wall. Make sure you pay attention to that. When you're going through the property, you want to make sure that you're looking under every sink. You're going to be looking under the ceiling, underneath all the bathrooms, to make sure there's no water leaking through. If there is, that water is going to cause mold inside of the roof, inside of the ceilings, inside of the insulation of the walls. You have a lot of potential for problems. It also can short out your electrical, a lot of problems. And water is the enemy. Remember that. If you can, we always want to get into the attic as well. Make sure that you can get into the attic. And if you can get into the attic, you'll be able to see if the water has been able to break through the membrane and the asphalt shingles, because then you can have mold in your roof. That's another big problem. So how do we sometimes fix that? We could send up a drone. Make sure the drone is looking at the top of the building. We can look at the eaves troughs and the condition of the asphalt shingles at the same time. We can make sure that that is good before we're going to purchase it. One of the things that everybody is very afraid of these days, though, is because when you're going to be doing your showings, right? Your showings are back to back to back to back, and we have to make offers very quickly. So, David, what am I supposed to do? How do I get the home inspected? Expert tip, always bring your inspector with you when you're going to look at the building. So if you're going to look at it and it's an offer date situation where you're going to be forced to put in an offer that day, the next day, you now have your inspector looking at the property at the same time as you, and you can make sure that the property is perfect condition for you. And that's what we want for you. We want to make sure that the property is inspected and is in perfect condition so you can make a stronger offer. We have won so many properties by using that exact technique, because we're able to put in an offer that is not conditional on inspection, whereas everybody else has to make it conditional on inspection or else have a huge risk. We don't want that for you. I want you to make a lot more money. Always bring the inspector with you. You'll make a lot more money in the end, right? That's an expert tip. And if you can, Bring a drone if you see any condition issues on the roof. Look at it from Google satellite to see if you see it look really funky. Remember also, when you're looking at a property, water is the enemy, so always look at the grade of the land. If you're on a hill and water is running towards your house, higher likelihood that you're going to be sinking in the mud. But if you have land that kind of seeps away from the house, you'll have a much more sturdy house in the long run. Make sense? Hope so. Hope that was really fun.